So the first thing I do is I normally go into Google. Sometimes go onto Google Scholar, because it seems to have a lot more reliable information than just regular Google. So let's say I'm going to research drug use in high schools. Oops. So then I come down here and I look at what looks interesting. So this was done in 1989, so that looks a bit outdated. Let's go since 2015. There we go. Use of e-cigarettes, high school students, use of alcohol. Well, for the sake of this, we'll just go here and look at this right here. So let's see the article info, see what they have on this. Authors are Thomas A. Williams, Preventative Control Program, University of Hawaii Cancer Center. So he seems like a pretty reputable guy. So basically I just look at the article information to make sure it seems like something that is reliable and not just some guy in his room behind a keyboard writing his opinions about something. So this is a research that was conducted. So I look at the abstract, get a basic idea of what this source is telling me. So we examine the longitudinally how e-cigarettes used among adolescents is reliable to subsequent smoking behavior. That's interesting because there's a lot of young kids now that use e-cigarettes and vapes and Juuls and things like that. So here they've got statistics. That's good. They have a graph, which is really nice, especially if you're trying to use a paper like an APA format. You want to use graphs. You can get the background, their methods. So this just looks like a really good source. So then what I would do is I would open a Word document and I would copy and paste the link to this article, its name and its authors, into a Word document, so I can kind of use that to go back and reference it later. So I have it in one spot, and then I would go back to my search, and then I would go find another source that uses, or that looks similar. So tobacco use amongst middle school and high school students, that looks about the same thing. 2014, so it's recent. High school grades 9 to 12 students, Food and Drug Administration, FDA. So it looks like a pretty good website so far, so let's go ahead and look at it. Let me see, National Library of Medicine. Let's see here, tobacco use. These are the people behind author information. Let's see that. Smoking. Right, so basically I look into the authors, see if they seem like a legitimate and credible source of information. I would go through the article, I'd read it just like the other one. See what information it has. It has a lot of statistics, which is very useful. I just need to check the validity of those statistics. They seem to have done their research, which is good. This is very useful. It's a graph with these, or it's a table of the numbers on high school students who use electronic cigarettes, hookah, cigars, smokeless, things like that. So that's very good. That's helpful, especially if you're trying to do research on this stuff, which I am. It has a graph. So tobacco looks like the highest right here for all years. So that's 2011 through 2014. So that's nice that it has a range. It's not just a one-off year. Just go through, read this article, make sure it's credible. Look at its references, go through these, click and look into some of them, make sure they look legitimate. And then I would do the same thing, copy and paste with the name of the articles when I got it to a Word document, use it as a reference for later just so I have all my references in the same spot. And however many sources I need, I would go ahead and collect that amount of sources. Then if I needed to use a book, I would go into the library website on my school, which I cannot access at this moment, but let's just say so then I would go to the library at my school and I would look up some books and see if there's anything that pertains to my topic and what information I can get from that. I'd probably rent the book and take it home and do my research at home. That's where I do most of my research. Let's go ahead and go back to this topic. So generally with my papers I tend to identify a problem and prompt a solution to that problem, ways of correcting the issue at hand. So I would probably come up here, lowering drug use in high schools. So adolescent substance abuse treatment, a review of evidence-based research. Web-based personalized feedback. Middle school students in the United States.
Oh, I need a power vacuum.
Effectively evaluate of the school program. So then I'd probably come down here, keep looking for one that seems to use, so right here. This one looks pretty good. Efficacy of the evolution of the school program unplugged from drugs. And this one is in Brazil, so it would not be necessarily pertaining to the United States, but it's just an example. So you go through, you look at the background, the methods of non-randomized control trial that was conducted in 2013, so it was a recent control trial. You have the results, you have the conclusion of the test. I can get information on the abstract, which is nice. Actually, I was already reading the abstract, my bad. This was published in 2016, so it's very recent, it's only 3 years old. And that's another good example. It has your authors. You can do background investigations on your authors, or you can look into your authors and see if they are valid, or if they're people you should steer away from, or if they're just teenagers in their basement writing about stuff they don't know about, but they seem to be pretty good. And then Let's see here. Sometimes I come down here to related searches and look at things that might pertain, like keywords that might pertain to what I'm looking at that maybe I didn't think of. So management of drug use could be useful, but that could be too broad of a spectrum because we're focusing specifically on high school. So life skills, drug prevention program, personalized feedback, high school students, systematic review of drug use. High school protective behavioral strategies might be under there, but we'll go on to the. We'll try this drug use prevention, and we'll say high school. Keep forgetting the. Alright, school-based adolescent drug prevention programs, 1998. So that's very old. That's 20 years old. 21 years old almost. Let's see if we can find something more recent. 1997, 1995, 1996, 2003. We're getting closer. 2007. That's binge drinking though. Let's see. Google Scholar's nice because you can go from, let's go 2010 until 2019. Here we go, 2010. Science Direct, choose an organization. No, that doesn't have anything to do with this. So we're going to go ahead and go find a different one. Used by gender and grade. Alright, so it's 2012. This is in Canada, but it could still be useful. Let's see here. Substance Use Profile Canada, Youth Exploring. So this is through a college library system. So this appears to be Science Direct. Yeah, this website seems to be through the library. So this is probably going to be a more reputable source than others. We can go through and we can check again. We can look at the different authors. We can look at the abstract, see what it's about. Alcohol was most prevalent substance used by the youth. It was rare to find youth who hadn't used tobacco or drugs without also currently using alcohol. So if kids are drinking, it could lead to other things, obviously. It's nice, there's keywords here that you can use for other searches. It's recent. I believe this was a 2012. Yeah, March 2012. So it's a very long. Addictive behaviors is a long, like it's a book. So we could use that, read as much of it as we want. It could be very helpful. Let's go look at something else. Our adolescents with high school. Okay, so yeah, so this looks pretty good. It's 2012. This just looks like a PDF document. So we could look into Jennifer L. Homensky, the writer of this article, or this document, and see her credibility, see what, how reliable her research is. We can go down and probably find her source page. Down here at the bottom, we can read all this to get the information on the tests conducted, the statistics on who's using what, how much, when. It's a lot of tables, which is very useful. See if she has yeah, right here, references. So she has a lot of references, which is really good. So she clearly did her research. So we can look into these references, maybe find more references that might be helpful to our research, and just go from there.